All right, this is Sidepole Podcast, episode 85. Roll one, take one, marker.
85. We're approaching 100.
I
What are
know.
we going to do?
We have 15 weeks, which is what a quarter, 3 months, something like that. We have like a little less than 4 months to figure out something actually cool to do for 100.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that what's going to end up happening is that I'm going to not think about anything until the week before, then try and really like save myself there. But maybe something will come to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We could launch a Patreon at 100.
We can call Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. We haven't had guests on the show in a while.
Yeah. Which, if you're thinking to yourself, man, that was cool. I mean, you're probably right, and you're like, man, why don't they do that anymore? And the answer is laziness.
Hey, we just forgot that we could have guests on the show, honestly.
It's easier to have guests because now we don't need to be in person. It's easier than ever. But
This is the best time to have guests. We probably should have brainstormed this before going live on the podcast.
yeah, we should have had the production conversations before. I started the clapperboard, but I guess we're just doing it now, and maybe we're just trying to do the thing where I fill time because, boy, it's been another week and stuff happened, and by happened I mean nothing happened. Right? Am I right? Did I die for a week? And
Well,
didn't
we got
notice?
we got we got passed along some information at least about when the patch is.
Oh,
Finally,
oh,
it's not actually going to be happening now. It'll happen after they're done with Nemesis. After the battle pass goes away and they put in a patch to take all that shit out and hopefully in the process fix the micro stuttering issue in Dota. They're going to in turn take the old out, put some new stuff in, which is a new patch, and I am incredibly curious as to how big this patch is going to be because there's not going to be a ton of information you're going to be able to get before TI. There's tournaments, yes, but there's no international tournaments.
is ESL going to be played on this patch, on the new patch, or is ESL
Yes,
played? Okay.
ESL is going to be played on the new patch. I think it's pretty much the first tournament that's going to happen when the
That
new
feels
patch
like
goes
best
down,
case.
something like that.
That feels like best case, right? Because then, in case something is like super wonky, they're not coming into TI with a patch that they really don't have any data on.
I would say best case would have been having it come out already, and all of these online tournaments that are currently happening, the smaller tier 3 tournaments that are currently happening, you would have gotten information out of that for bugs and stuff. And then you could have done a small patch before ESL 1, and then you could have patched after ESL 1 for TI. Or, I'm not sure how many other tournaments are going to go on after ESL 1. I kind of feel like it's going to be the last big one. Maybe there'll be some small stuff going on. But the problem is going to be is that there will be no international competition. And I in this case, when I'm saying international, I don't mean the some of the teams. It's not going to be all European teams for ESL One summer, as far as
T1's
I
there.
understand. They announced T1 is going to be there. But for me anyway, I feel like you're still going to be lacking cross regional play.
Thunder Predator's going to be there.
For
ESL.
Yeah. Because there's only going to be like one team maybe from each region. You're going to have nobody from China, I believe. Nobody from China is going to be coming in, and you're only going to have like one or two teams from Southeast Asia or from South America or from NA. So for me anyway, it's like China is always the most important region. So when it comes to fleshing this stuff out, you kind of need China and maybe a decent amount of Southeast Asia to be able to clash up against Europe and North and South America, and like then you can actually figure out like kind of what's broken and stuff. I feel like there's going to be this is the TI that I feel like is most likely going to have some broken shit in it for a long time. They've been very diligent about making sure everything is like really good and set for the TI patch every single year since like TI 4, probably TI 4. So
So
yeah.
so I mean I was going to ask about that, and I'd love you to fact check me because I'm a bit ignorant on it. Generally speaking, like how many events or how much time do we have between like a solid stable gameplay patch and TI? Because like you said, I'm envisioning like a worst case scenario in my head where there's just one or two really broken things for coming around TI, which will
Yeah.
really affect drafting more than anything else because there's probably
Yep.
going to be an increased emphasis on first pick, assuming that there is a potentially broken first pick heroes. But like how much time normally transpires between that patch and the start of TI or a tournament?
I would say, I mean, because normally we have a big patch that comes in, usually late into like TI happens. They do like a post TI patch usually, and then they start focusing on like, okay, let's get the next patch off of the ground, you know. And so that's going to be coming in late November, December, January, February. I don't actually remember when it, but I know it's several months that we have this big game-changing patch that comes in, and then we have multiple B and C patches that like balance out the game, maybe tweak something, maybe something we didn't like. Okay, neutral items, for example, neutral items came into the game. Boom, you can have as many neutral items as you want. Oh wait, that's a bad idea. Swerve on that one. You can only have one. Oh, we're also going to put a dedicated slot in for your neutral item. You know, like, okay, let's take out some of these neutral items that don't feel so good, like the Aghanims. There was that free Aghanim
Oh
scepter you got for like
yeah.
5 minutes, remember? It was the Tome of Aghanim or something like that. So you're like just remember like that and all the changes that afterwards. You know, it has to go through a lot of patch changes. So normally it's a decent amount of time, and that's why I also don't expect this patch to be that big, right? I don't think it's going to be a introducing new crazy concepts into Dota
I'm
patch.
expecting modest, right? Like I don't think
Yeah.
that after the end of this battle pass we're going to see something on the scale of talent trees or neutral items or any of the such like that. Like things
Yeah,
that
not for TI 10 especially, right? You know, this is the TI straight back from Corona, and it's your 10-year anniversary of TI. Like you don't want to fuck that up too bad.
yeah, we'll just get a modest patch which will get people excited about playing Dota and we'll get excited for TI and like freshen some stuff up and then that'll kind of be it. I would be shocked if it's any more than that. But I still think that even something small is justified. I see more and more of my friends are just at the mental space right now where they're like, "Well, I could play Dota or I could do something else because like I only got to wait a little bit and like I'm not really that incentivized by the battle pass." Um God, if I could be a fly on the wall in the Valve office to really like know the gross performance of this battle pass versus other ones, because anecdotally
Mm.
a lot of the feedback I'm getting is just people not spending money on it or substantially less money on it. So I am so morbidly curious, a question that I will never know the answer of how that went, because I don't think it's properly incentivizing people to play aside from the people who
Did
are
you
like,
buy the battle pass?
I did.
Did you buy the bundle that just came out?
I did not.
Okay. So I bought the 100 levels with the battle pass, and then I grinded up 100 levels, and then the bundle came out. I bought that, and with a little bit more grinding, I should be able to get the Spectre Arcana. I'm like level 320. So yeah, I think if I am not investing into the battle pass, I feel like if I am like, I feel like it's kind of a waste of money. The Yeah, it's probably not doing great numbers. But, then again, they're also like, whatever, this is Battle Pass Light. We also did a Battle Pass that didn't have a TI,
Mm-hmm.
so fuck it. I'm sure they still I'm
All
sure
that
they view
money,
this
it's
as
just
kind of a
gravy.
write-off, whatever.
It's
Yeah.
just
It's just
gravy money. There's no reason to not do it. But like I
this
want to
Battle
know the
Pass was
numbers.
the cherry on top of the other Battle Pass, that broke records. So,
Maybe I should get the bundle. It's only $15 and it's like 60 levels. That does get me closer to the Spectre Arcana.
I'm also very concerned. Like, I think Slack said he was concerned about this too. That like Valve is gonna like, however much money they made off this battle pass, they probably didn't put like a huge amount of effort into it. They didn't tie it into TI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And however much money they made off of that, they're probably gonna look at it and be like, do we need to tie this to TI anymore? Like, how many more TIs is Valve got to do? You know, how much more is Valve gonna keep that going?
10.
I almost I
10.
I am
There's gonna
actually
be 20
10?
of them.
There's gonna be 20. You know, I actually think that it's good for Dota. Well, it depends on how you view the international. There are problems that come with the international, but I almost feel like it's good for Dota that Valve has not had a successful game since Dota. You know?
I can make the case that Counter-Strike became successful after Dota, even though it was not released before Dota. I think that if they invested their money over to Counter-Strike, they would probably see better rewards.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Artifacts, shit the bed. Underlords, shit
RIP.
the bed eventually. You know, Alex, good game, right? Concept, but it's not like the multiplayer genre takeover everything sort of game.
For the people listening, yes, Austin did
genre.
become a robot. He did, and it's okay. We're actively fixing that right now, but it'll take a second. What he was trying to educate you on is that it might be the Discord call. It also might be it's your internet, maybe, I don't know. Might be the Discord call. The Alex was successful critically acclaimed wise and like gameplay innovation wise, but it's not something that you can, drive money off of right now. I mean, the thing that might bring Valve the most monetary success in the next wave, their next big swing, their next big swing is the Steam Deck. So I am interested to see if we continue to see this hardware push that's coming out of them. Because they dabbled in it with the controller, they dabbled in it with the Steam Link. They've been there before. They helped with the HTC Vive. They made the Index, right? And now we're getting a console out of them. And I don't think I talked about this, but I definitely pre-ordered one.
My internet shit.
Oh yeah, you are a robot. It might be your internet.
Yes.
I'm actually going to try and fix this. Okay. Cutting point for the episode. Great. And just like that, I fixed the entirety of the internet. All of its problems. The entire internet solved. Solved in the time that you did not hear the podcast going on. We were talking about something, but then I was distracted by the fact that you definitely became a robot and the fact that Spectrum Internet is something you pay too much for when you have no other options because how can they not help you?
I pay $100 a month for anybody listening. $100. I will gladly throw that number out there to put Spectrum under the bus because they're dog shit, and dog shit belongs, well, not in the street underneath bus tires. That's kind of gross.
Should be responsibly disposed of.
It's totally dog shit, and I have been having nonstop issues with them for the last 2 weeks, and they can't seem to figure out why. I bought a whole new router, just to see, just maybe that'll fix it. No, definitely did not fix it.
Do you have a different modem? Did we try any modem yet?
I've replaced the modem about 4 times since I was here at Spectrum.
Wow.
Yeah.
It not only are they crap, like also your building must have problems, or your area must have problems. And I feel like
no idea.
What is more universal for our cohort than complaining about the internet?
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's nothing more like, if you want to do a good bit that people have empathy for, just be like, hey man, Comcast, am I right? And then suddenly everyone's like, yeah, fuck them.
What's the deal with Comcast?
It's the new airline.
Just straight up, just take Seinfeld and just run with it. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try and get that bus that has the poop under the tires to get back into the bus lane, because I was making an admission that I am enough of a shill for Gabe N and the Valve Corporation, for no
yeah,
reason.
they bought the Steam Deck. Oh,
for no
Joey.
reason other than my own self-pity and self-hatred. I pre-ordered a Steam Deck. I pre-ordered not just a Steam Deck. I also pre-ordered the new Switch OLED, but I think I talked about that. I pre-ordered the new Switch because my Switch is kind of a little broken.
Pre-order both of them?
I know.
And also, what is the new Switch? I don't know about this.
Bigger screen, bigger OLED screen.
Oh, big screen.
No hardware upgrades
happy.
on the Switch. No hardware upgrades. It's not going to run your games any faster or better. It's just
a bigger screen.
It's a bigger, better screen. No Joy-Con fixes. Like, that's it. And I have a Nintendo Switch that I got on day one because that's a thing that I did. I'm very happy with that decision. I was like, I don't need a new Switch. But then I thought about it, and I realized how much I play my Switch not docked. I think the new Switch is bad for anybody who plays their Switch docked. Full stop. Doesn't matter. Same unit, gonna get the same performance as your current Switch if you're just playing on the couch. I probably play my Switch 75% of the time non-docked. And you know what? My unit, a little derpy. The right Joy-Con doesn't really stand its home very well because the slide is a little messed up. It's seen some stuff. The charging plug doesn't necessarily click into the USB-C port anymore. Like, it's a little loose, like it's been used a little bit too much. So I'm like, you know what? I will get a new Switch. I will treat myself. I have much less expenses living with my parents, so I can afford the $300. I can justify this. I can be spendthrifty. I can get the Switch, right? I do that. I place the pre-order, and then literally a week later, Valve's like, hey everybody, guess what we made? And I looked at it, and I looked at the Steam Deck, and I went, shit, because like I've been saying, my Switch consumption is almost entirely portable. I like taking it outside and playing games on the hammock. I like taking it to the gym and riding the bike and playing the Switch. I like traveling with it. I play it in bed. What, do you not do that?
Did you just say riding your bike and playing the Switch?
A stationary bike at the gym.
Oh,
like a stationary cycling machine. I will, okay. I go to the gym, which is a thing that I do very recently now, and I love watching the people around me, because there's people on the bike watching their phones. There's people who tend to be a little bit older. They're cracking a book open and they're pedaling, and I'm just sitting there. Like playing Fez, just playing Fez and pedaling, and I am now the person who brings in their Switch with their neon green and pink Joy-Cons to go lift weights. So everyone can envy me. I know I'm super cool. I'm cool. It's fine. I'll admit to it. I'm super duper rad and cool. The Steam Deck comes out and I'm like, well, my use case really is on the go. And it does play all these games that I can't necessarily play on my Switch because they didn't come out on there. And like, there's probably going to be a lot of third-party compatibility and like software and soft mods for it. Whew.
Let me just say, if Dota wasn't my literal job, I would not get the Steam Deck. I think that's a bad idea. I think you should wait for the viewers. You should wait until Valve actually proves that this is a good product that they're going to support and it's going to be super cool and innovative. You should wait for that first.
The idea...
You should wait for the 2.0. That's what you should probably wait for.
The idea of a super powerful Switch that can run nearly any game that I want to play on the go like a Switch is an idea that I am super into. Super about that. I am their market for this product. However, I suspect that you're right and that there's going to be a lot of flaws. Maybe hardware's not perfect. First generation, no one's really touched it. Maybe doesn't feel good in your hands. Maybe they don't keep supporting it. Maybe they have hardware issues and they break a lot and there's no way to really like get them repaired or fixed, right? Like there is a bunch of issues that they have not proven themselves about. Like Nintendo, if your Switch is busted up, contacting Nintendo customer service, sending your unit in, getting it fixed is cheap if not free and incredibly easy and quick. I cannot imagine that's going to be the case with the Steam Deck. I think there's going to be a lot of like back end logistical problems that potentially plague this from an infrastructure standpoint. But I'm holding on to the idea that it is just going to be out of the box, indefinitely good, and really fill a niche for me.
What other hardware has Valve produced?
So they got the Steam Link.
Yeah.
You know, bring Steam to your TV. They got the Steam controller, which is a thing that they stopped making because I don't think people were super into it. I own one.
Mm-hmm.
I played all of Dark Souls 3 on it. I think that some parts are pretty cool. The best part about the Steam controller, not to get on too much of a tangent here, the best part about the Steam controller was the fact that they had basically every game on the Steam library had user-generated and like voted on controller configurations. So any game you wanted to play, someone else probably customized the controller to the optimal way to play that game, and you can just import their settings flawlessly, which was great. That feature, super cool, especially because, you know, they used like the touchpads, and at the time they had back panels before like Microsoft made those kind of common too. So big fan of the software side of it. The hardware side of it, they helped make the Vive with HTC. They made the Index, and they're making the Steam Link. And I guess Steam machines were also a thing, but I really am kind of ignorant to how those worked. So
I wonder what wonder if anybody listening, if you have ever had to go through repairing or sending back your whatever their VR
like
one
an
is,
Index.
not the Vive. Yeah, an Index. I wonder what that's like. It's not like Valve's a big manufacturer, so I imagine that process is more annoying than, say, Nintendo, who's obviously a massive manufacturer. And,
I sent my Joy-Cons to get repaired.
Pump those things out.
I had Joy-Con drift. I emailed Nintendo about my Joy-Con drift. They have like a form to do it because it's so prevalent, right? I emailed them. They gave me a shipping label. I sent it in the mail. With shipping, I had my Joy-Cons back and fixed in 5 days.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And be it that the repair center was about 20 miles from my house, so there was a lot of there was one UPS day on each day, right? But that means that the turnaround time on fixing the Joy-Cons, and it was at the facility, was 3 days. That's great.
Yeah, it's very good.
But yeah, if you want to go ahead and shame me, I did. I mean, I guess I didn't buy it, but I did pre-order it. And for anyone who's curious, I couldn't quite justify the most expensive one, so I got the medium expensive one. I Goldilocks.
Sounds even worse.
Because they're all expensive. The expensive was like $700 or something like that.
Yeah, and the medium one is how much?
$550.
Yeah. If you're gonna fucking shell out for something like that, you might as well go all the way. Well, yeah, okay? So earlier you said that you've had a lot of people around you being like, not sure about playing Dota right now. Not really super incentivized by the battle pass, same old patch and stuff. AUI 2000 last told me last night. He said that I can't play Dota anymore. This patch is too boring. I can't do this anymore. He just doesn't want to play Dota because new patches coming up, and if that man doesn't want to play Dota, it's probably a good sign.
I don't know if he's a good barometer anymore, man. He drank that talent Kool-Aid. He knows that he can just coast by playing a couple games a week. Am I right?
It's true. It's true. So instead, what we did together was pay Back for Blood. You heard
Oh,
about that game?
I did hear about that game
Yeah, you might
because
have heard about that game from me trying to get you to play Joey.
I I went because I thought I signed up both times for a
Uh-huh.
beta key, both cycles.
Yeah.
I did not get one. And then I was like, oh fuck, you got a key, like I want to play at the start of last weekend. And then you're like, oh, all you got to do is buy the game and they'll let you in the beta. And I'm like, ugh, I forgot how capitalism works. How can I be so silly?
Yeah.
Of course, if I just give them $60, I can play the game early. Duh. So I did that immediately. Like I got that message from you. I was
Mhm.
on my phone and I bought it from Steam Mobile, downloaded it to my desktop remotely, and went tight. Gonna play some Back for Blood. And then I had a really busy weekend and didn't play at all, and I feel bad about it because I wanted to play, and I'm pretty sure that you can't play anymore because it was just for the weekend. Is that correct?
You cannot. You have a second chance here. There is an open beta coming in another 3 days. I think it starts on the 12th. It's another like 4-day deal.
Okay.
So yeah,
So we can
you
play.
can try and play then.
So we can play. We will.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about using the "we" word
The
there,
Wii.
Joey.
I mean, what am I
The
gonna? I mean,
"we" word.
I got the game to hang out with my friend, and not because I was gonna go play a co-op game by myself.
You might have missed the boat on that one. It's already sailing away. Bye bye boat. I'm gonna be going to visit my mom on the 13th. So
Oh, and here I thought we were gonna have a spirited conversation because I've actually heard some spicy opinions about Back for Blood, about how they have made it too complicated as an evolution from Left 4 Dead. Like there's too many like gun mods and add-ons and knickknacks and things. No, you disagree. Okay.
no, no, it's not that complicated. It's really not. Okay, so here's the deal. Some people didn't like it because they thought like I personally look at this and say anybody who's like, "Oh, I'm a really big Left 4 Dead fan, but this isn't exactly Left 4 Dead." So, I don't know if I like it. I think you're just dumb and wrong and stuck in the past because here's the deal, right? Left 4 Dead was a fantastic game, right? It is one of those like whenever people talk about like games that, shape their childhood or like who they are or whatever, like Left 4 Dead would be one of those for me. Thing is, Left 4 Dead is still an old game, right? And in order to attract new people, you need to be able to incorporate elements that of current gaming that are currently hot, right? So you needed to take Left 4 Dead and improve upon it and make it for
Iterate,
2021 rather than
modernize.
2012. Yes. So what they did is they added in RPG sort of elements to it, where you now have ways to be able to customize, not just your character has innate perks to it, but then you can also get what are in order to also amplify your character in certain ways, and even in some ways, some of the bigger perks will actually take away from other things. And then they do the same thing with the weapon system where you can get attachments for weapons and make your weapon more powerful in that regard. And I personally think that this not only adds roguelike elements into it, obviously I'm a big fan of that, right? Being able to change your experience every single time you play the same run, it's different for various different reasons. There are cards that can happen. There are basically augments that can happen to the level, whether it's like, oh, now it's foggy out, or now you're going to get this special kind of enemy or something like that. There are augments for your own character, the cards we were talking about. There are augments for your weapon to make it different in some different way. So it means that every single run that you do is different and unique, and I personally think that is very good for the game. And I don't think it overcomplicates the game whatsoever. And I do think it stays very true to old Left 4 Dead. I think it stays very true to the
Does
game.
anything carry over run to run at all, or is it a
Uh,
fresh slate every time?
yeah, things do carry over. If you were to say load onto, like the second chapter of the first act or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, you would start with more copper, like you would if you did the first chapter. You would also get an extra card in there, so it's gonna give you some of the bonuses that you would, but not quite as good as if you make a run straight through. And yeah, all of that stuff does build on it. I don't know if the axe per se, because they only have two different acts in the game now. In the alpha, they only had one. Now in the beta, they have two. I actually didn't notice if it carried over from act to act.
Okay.
That might be a clean, fresh start. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah,
But
I regret that I was not able to play it, and it's like one of those things that I'm very much looking forward to. I also like part of me is okay not playing it because like my FOMO about it is purely not playing with my friends. I know that the game will get released and have a version and I'm gonna play and I'm gonna play with my friends and like we're going to have a good time. I have complete faith that that my $60, even if I do not touch the beta, will be something that I would have spent and enjoyed anyways. Like I'm pretty steadfast in that, so I'm not too worried or concerned. Any
yeah.
FOMO that I have is like, oh man, I paid money for this thing and then didn't have the time to do it. Womp womp.
Yes, and you didn't have the time to do it in part because you went to a wedding?
You know, I'm gonna be honest. When I started the recording, and I'm like, oh man, what we're gonna talk about? I forgot that I went to a wedding on Saturday.
Yeah, you went to a wedding.
Good thing I told you about that so you could remind me. Man, okay.
Uh-huh.
Hear me out. Hear me out. So I
Okay.
went to a wedding. I think I mentioned this a couple times. My family is relatively small. My dad doesn't have any family really that's alive. All my family's from my mom's side. My mom's side of the family is pretty small. This isn't like my cousin's wedding or my sister's wedding or like anybody who's close by. This is an extended family wedding, but because my family is so small, we are kind of close with the extended family. So my grandma's cousin's daughter got married. So, if you want a little lesson about familial stuff, her and I, the first ancestor that we share is a great great grandparent, which means that we are third cousins.
Okay.
And then we are once removed because I am a layer down on the family tree because this cousin would be at my mom's age because she's cousins with my mom, but I am younger. So this is a wedding for a third cousin once removed, which I'm glad that I figured out how that system worked. This has been something that has been put off for. They were supposed to get married like at the beginning of COVID, so this is like an 18-month push on a wedding, and I feel horrible for them because the even though that it was pushed 3 different times over the course of the pandemic, there's still a lot of people who couldn't come because stuff has once again gotten bad, like as recently as the last 2 weeks for a lot of people traveling. Like one of her bridesmaids, who was like her co-maid of honor, couldn't come. A bunch of people just didn't want to for a bunch of reasons, right? So that means they had extra food, which is great for me because I got to have like an entree and a half. Anywho, that's not what was important, I guess. But the wedding finally happens, and the wedding happened in beautiful Burbank, California, at an equestrian center because my cousin.
That's a horse place?
Correct.
Equestrian?
Fun
Okay.
fact about
I do know that.
equestrian:
Right.
my parents used to refer to the pornographic channels as the equestrian channels because they didn't want to say porn and have us look up what porn was. So then instead, yeah,
And they just figured if you ever figured out what equestrian means, you just wouldn't be interested because who cares about horses?
yeah. I don't know why all the horse channels had passwords on them. Um, yeah, so I mean, sometimes my parents are smart about stuff. The the the
Didn't
thing is
want
that
you to see that horse dick.
stop. The wedding is an equestrian center, which I realized as soon as I strolled up and in the car because the sign said equestrian center. And I looked at my mom because we went there together, and I'm like, I feel like you failed to tell me that we were at an equestrian center. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, yeah, that's gonna be a problem, isn't it?" Because, fun Joey fact, if you had to rank all of my allergies, all of the stuff that makes me incredibly, my body just not happy. At the top is peanuts because it can probably kill me. Right below peanuts, not deadly, but like incredibly insufferable, horses.
Really?
Horses. I have a big horse allergy. It's worse than cats, which I described as
I've
very
never
allergic.
heard of that before.
Dude, it's a real thing. I promise it is a real thing.
Horse allergies?
Yep. I actually
Wow.
I didn't have a horse allergy until post puberty, because sometimes your allergies change like when your body does, and for some reason I developed an allergy to horses, and it's pretty bad. Same with peanuts. I wasn't allergic to peanuts when I was younger. I just never liked them. I was around horses when I was younger because my grandparents had horses, because my grandfather raced horses. My grandfather was a chariot racer. He would sit behind the horses and do the cart racing.
Really?
Which is wild because he's also like 6'7", and I'm pretty sure that's a small man sport. But so like there's pictures of me like with horses when I was young. There's horses in the backyard of my grandparents' house. Like it was totally normalized. But we roll up to this equestrian center and I just go, "Oh my God, you've got to be shitting me." And then I look around the car and see how much allergy medication I can swallow, because I know that I'm going to have a not fun time, because the wedding is like outside and it's by the stables. So there's just like horse smell and horse existence everywhere. And when you have an allergy to something, whether it be like lavender or cats or, what have you, generally you're kind of hyper aware when that stuff is around because you're sensitive to it. Your nose gets stuffy, throat gets scratchy, you kind of like have a sixth sense for it. And I was not having a good time. I was not having a good time during the vows, because they were outside. Luckily, the reception,
I can't believe you stayed.
I couldn't have left, and it wasn't that bad enough to where I seriously had to consider leaving for like medical reasons. But like I was like my eyes were red, my throat was scratchy. I was just nonstop just drinking water because I'm like, this will get me through it, which meant that I was going to the bathroom a lot, which isn't important to the story, but now you know. I made it through the vows. We get to the reception. There's a cocktail hour outside. We're about to go in and eat. And I'm having a relatively good time. I don't know a ton of people there. It's a relatively big wedding, but the part about this that so I had the allergies, which were a physical disability, and then I had this mental disability because, again, I know I've complained about this a couple times. I have family members who refuse to get vaccinated.
Oh yeah.
Who were at the wedding, namely my grandparents, among others, right? And they are just around 100 people inside, no masks. Delta, definitely a thing in Los Angeles right now. Not as bad as Florida, but like also not great. So I have residual anxiety from the wedding, which I'm going to continue to have for like a week and change. Just sitting here crossing my fingers that no one dies or gets sick.
I can't believe you stayed.
Right.
I would have left immediately. I would have been like, you guys host the wedding in an area that is inhospitable to me. I love you. I hope the wedding's fantastic. Mom, I'll come pick you up in 2 hours, Yeah. How long were you there for the wedding?
The back half of I got there at 4 and we left at 11, so we was there for 7 hours. Ugh. The first the first 3 were the worst. Once we were inside in like a room that had like air conditioning and like some air filtration, I was okay inside. Also, the allergy medication kicked in. Also, I took so much allergy medication, it felt like I was on some kind of drugs, literally, because I guess I was, because everything was just like a little bit sleepy and a little bit hazy. So that was fun. I mean, had some fun dancing. had a nice dinner. Saw some people I don't normally get to see. I had a fun outfit. I was wearing like a emerald green and black kind of checkered pattern, not checkered. What do you call that? Like flannel-esque. It was like a flannel-y pattern, but it wasn't a flannel. It was like a dress
like
shirt.
plaid.
Yes, plaid. It was plaid. It was plaid adjacent. With some matching emerald Vans and like some nice black pants and a black tie. Like I was looking sharp, so I couldn't leave because it was like one of the days I decided to dress up, right? But everything was fine. I'm still worried that people are gonna die. I'm legit. Like I know that I'm saying that like half as a joke, but I'm legitimately worried that people are gonna get sick because going and being unvaccinated is incredibly irresponsible, and my family is so stupid.
Can I ask a super inappropriate question?
Yeah.
I do not have any experience with big families.
Mm-hmm,
So my experience with my family is grandma, cousins. That's pretty much it. Aunt, uncle. That is as far as my family goes,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So I don't experience the whole second removed, third cousin, whatever the fuck. You said great 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 grandfather is the last
Two
familial
greats.
connection. Two greats.
Two greats.
Great grandfather.
So my grandmother's grandma.
At what point, how removed do you need to be for that not to be considered incest anymore? Out of curiosity.
I think
That's all I've been thinking about ever since you talked about this. I was like, that's really far removed.
Well, I mean, we definitely share. What's that? Like a 16th of DNA from like a common ancestor, right? So I would say that that's not removed enough. I know nothing about the science, but I'm just gonna make an assumption here that you have to be at least one more layer of removed. You need to be 32 units of DNA out, preferably 64. I don't know. I think, and I could be wrong about this, so I even hesitate saying it. I actually think that stuff like that is governed by state laws. And like while there might be guidance on it, that technically it's like not really a crime or problematic, and it's different from where you are. I should be live fact checking that because it's probably interesting, but like I'm pretty sure that it is different depending on where you are. What does and does not count as incest.
I was just curious because I was like, so when you're close and you're like grow up together, I was like, is there any like?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty I mean, I'm speaking to my own personal experience.
Keiko in a conversation for sure.
I'm speaking to my personal. I'm sure there is one person listening to that to this right now who's thinking to themselves like, "Yeah, I had a crush on my third cousin when I was."
I remember my third cousin. She was banging.
Yeah, I can assure you that someone is having that thought right now, and it's okay. You don't need to be embarrassed by that. Hopefully, you didn't have kids. But that's why I wasn't playing Back for Blood, is because I had to go to a family gathering, which was.
You know, there are some places that have a sterility requirement to marry your cousin.
Like
you can marry your cousin, but you gotta be sterile first.
Like a first cousin?
Yes, a first cousin.
Some
places allow you to marry your cousin.
You share way too much DNA at that. Like you have the same grandparents. That's not kosher.
Arizona says first cousin marriage is allowed only if both. It's actually a lot of states. Only if both parties are 65 or older, or one is infertile.
Or
you get the sniff, and cousin Betty turns into wife Betty real quick.
Oh no! What? Okay, so like, so hear me out. It's very easy to make fun of this.
Uh-huh.
What is the practicality of why a law like this would exist? Like, why? Who is this for? Like, how many people are taking advantage of this? What is? Why does it exist? Why does it exist?
Why do we have bans on first cousin marriages to prevent inbreeding?
Oh, yes, we do. But
Right.
like, why?
Why do we allow it? Because people want to do it. That's why.
It's really
Because
that
humans are
simple. It's
fucked up
just
creatures. Yeah, there's people who want to do it. And goddamn, that's my right. And so you have to decide at what point do you criminalize that action, and you got to be really tight with it, because somebody wants to marry their third cousin. There's probably not a ton of harm in that. It's a little weird, but you can get proof of genetic counseling from a genetic counselor. For first cousin marriage is allowed in Maine if you go through a genetic counselor.
which is just a professional test saying, hey, if you have kids, they're gonna be not healthy.
Yeah, I'm confused that they're first cousins. Like, how can that be? Is there some way that that's okay if you break down the genes? Weird. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about the entire time. Was third cousin. I was like, that's pretty far apart. I was like, at what point do you stop being family?
Well, now I know that I can just title the show "Incest Questions."
Yeah.
Incest
Also,
musings.
apparently, only 5% of people with allergies have horse allergies. So you're very lucky.
I
Congrats.
am so excited to be me. I say it often. If I was born 100 years ago, I'd be fucking dead.
Yeah.
I would just be
Yeah,
dead.
just imagine you were living in a city in the 1800s, no automobiles, and everyone's just riding horses around. So much so that the horse shit builds up in the streets.
And then I can either die
You'd be
of
dead.
cholera or
Mm-hmm.
horses.
Yeah. Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
um, that's all. That's all I have, Cap.
Well, that's about all I have too, because I'm playing Dota mostly just to try and play Pudge. I'm gonna play some Dota again because Back for Blood I can no longer play that, but I was very much enjoying my time doing that. I'm still playing RimWorlds,
Is your cult
and
okay?
I'm gonna be doing ESL One Fall. No, I've had to restart it a couple times, a number of times. Again, I play in a very hard mode, so I'm fully prepared that I will have to restart many, many times. But for me anyway, I enjoy that aspect. I enjoy the survival aspect of the game most of all. But yeah, ESL One Falls coming up. I'm not gonna be. You know what the theme of ESL One Fall is?
Is it autumn?
No, there's an actual theme to it. It is boot camp because everybody's boot camping for TI. So they took that, ran with it. Okay, boot camp, Boy Scouts, military, whatever. And they didn't even bring me there. They've got an entire theme about boot camp, and they didn't even bring the one person who literally went to boot camp. What the hell?
This is bad creative.
Yeah.
This is bad creative.
I heard that. I was just like, because I wasn't that miffed. I was like, well, that's a little concerning that they don't want me in studio and they're bringing other people from the U.S. in studio. And I was like, but do I really care that much? Like, I'm working remote. I don't have to travel during Corona, during the Delta variant coming out and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's not that big of a deal. I'm cool with this. But then I see the theme is boot camp, and I was just like, what?
You have a
All
literal
right.
marine in your ranks. Like,
Literally went through the Marine Corps, guys. Like,
maybe that's why they didn't
I was
want
just
you
like,
there,
well, okay,
because
whatever.
they were worried about whatever kind of PTSD they were going to trigger. So they're like,
Yeah,
maybe it's
maybe.
for your safety.
Or maybe they didn't want to lean too much into the military aspect of boot camp, right? because apparently I'm really spoiling things now. Apparently their lead hero. So okay, so if you had to choose, your theme is boot camp. What hero do you choose,
Oh,
Joey?
I need a second to think about this. Oh man,
That's fine.
I
So they're the heroes that immediately come to mind for me anyway. Sniper, right? He literally has a gun. There's that's a little too real though. There is Dragonite, who's like he's kind of a badass sort of like military type character.
Legion
I don't
Commander.
think there's Legion Commander is like yeah, she's straight up general of an army,
Oh, it's
right?
it's not her.
It's not her.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. I can't think of a better one than that. Maybe there's a better one that I'm not thinking of.
There
Uh,
isn't. That is the Legion Commander is definitely the best one to fit the theme for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
I mean, hopefully they didn't do something too
Um,
stupid. Like they're not gonna like you're not gonna tell me that they did like Venomancer, right?
yeah, it's nothing that's like uh that
Egregious.
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like I'm looking at Doom. He probably leads an army.
Mars
Kunkka
also.
Kunkka is in the Navy. Kunkka's in the Navy. That's yeah,
Mars
right
could have
there.
made sense. You know,
Mars, true, true.
it's not
Mars,
even Mars.
it's none of those. It's none of those. Keep going.
I mean, at this point, like I'm struggling to justify heroes.
You could do
It's
like Drow or Beastmaster for more like Boy Scout type deals, you know, like that sort of deal. But I feel like that's still a bit of a
boot camp.
stretch.
Is it something like Crystal Maiden?
No.
Pango?
You ready for it? I don't think you're gonna get it. It's Gyrocopter.
Oh, I was gonna say that was gonna be one of the ones I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So what I fuck I hate when this happens because now it looks like I'm lying. And it looks like I'm lying. What I was going to say is I was going to say what about Gyrocopter? Oh, probably not him. I think they used him for ESL One Los Angeles as like the main hero.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They
So does someone in their
Yes.
aardvark just have like a big Gyrocopter boner?
I think they looked. So what they literally wrote in the email. Boy, I'm really just throwing all kinds of private information around. They wrote in the email. It was like gyrocopter, you know, like military esque, but he's kooky and fun. You know, because we don't want to go like too serious into like boot camp military like type shit. You know. Which makes sense for a video game broadcast. You don't want the boot camp theme to get like too real.
Then
So,
don't use the boot camp theme in the first place. If
well,
I've
you know, somebody got stuck in somebody's head. You know, all these teams are boot camping, boot camp, boot camp, boot camp, and they couldn't. They're like, no, we got to do it. That's got to be the theme.
if you wanted, like, I can think of better people. Like, you could have used Mirana and like had something that's like relative to the anime, right? Like you could have used Luna for the exact
Luna,
same
yeah.
reason, right? And like kind of like
Yeah,
maybe have like a
yeah.
light anime tie-in. I could have seen a world where you could have made Clockwork fit that role. Kiro's super versatile, right? Like, okay, don't choose Sniper as a gun. Maybe don't choose Legion as two on the nose. But if I'm in that creative room, I am almost certainly pushing for Legion Commander. I don't think by doing that,
I mean,
she's
she's like literally fits the drill instructor vibe, right?
Yeah.
Of like the way she's talking, you could have bits on that with her being the drill instructor, the talent being the recruits and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. But they went with old kooky gyrocopter.
Oh,
So,
yes,
yeah.
sir. Well,
So that's it. I don't know. Next week we should probably have a guest because it's gonna be another week of. Plus,
are you
I'll
gonna be at your
probably
mom's?
be at my mom's. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be at the. Yeah,
we should just not. You're gonna be at enjoy your time with your moms. We'll just tell people right now to
I'm gonna bring a laptop. Believe me. I when we do these sort of visits, we don't like dedicated hangout time, 12 hours a day, all day. Like Ellie and I are gonna be just chilling. My mom's got that very nice place on the river. There's places by the river you can hike around and stuff like that. We're going there for like chill out, just vibe, hang out sort of deal. We're not going to be doing activities and stuff. So I'm going to bring the laptop. We could still do it if you want.
We'll call. You know what? I'm gonna give a
I
potential
can ask my
out.
mom to be on the podcast.
I'm gonna. Oh God, the self restraint I would have to not ask her about her taste in literary novels
Oh no.
would be. I promise. Like I would struggle so hard. Um. I'll say a soft maybe, just so that we temper people's expectations in case you're having a good time. We don't actually record
Yeah, actually,
something.
let's not do that. I don't even. I bet it just wouldn't be entertaining, to be honest.
Yes, and also the idea of having to reciprocate and have my mother talk to you is worse.
I'm great with parents.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Ellie's parents love me, and they don't even. I don't even speak Romanian, and they don't speak English. So that's how you know. I just put on good vibes.
yeah, they're like, yeah, green card. Yep. It's probably offensive.
Jesus.
Oh, I might need to cut
Yeah,
that.
probably offensive.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
a little
gonna
bit.
cut the show.